Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I'm Tenitra, that's Jarvis, and we are glad that you are back with us. And of course, we appreciate you guys supporting the podcast, and we ask that you just continue to support and tell a friend to go and get us wherever you get your podcast on any platform. And of course, you can go on YouTube, and you know how you find us? Simply search on Locked On Sports Atlanta, and you'll find us along with the crew from Atlanta to get all things sports going. So we'll talk all things sports, Falcons, Braves, Hawks. We've talked about the Falcons. We're both very excited about what's going on with them, right? And even though we weren't excited about what happened last night with the Braves, we are excited about what happened with them this morning. But to recap from last night before we tee into the good stuff, we'll talk about the fact that unfortunately Charlie Morton had another rocky start, 2 1/3 innings, 3 runs given up, and in an eventual 6-3 loss in extras. Unfortunately, Tyler Matzik got rocked too. So that's how you got
Man.
to that point. But one of the goods of last night was getting Dansby Swanson sort of back in his stride. He hit a key single in the 8th inning to just put the Braves in position to get to extras, even though they weren't able to complete the comeback. So that was very positive. And you even heard Brian Snicker talking about it post game, how he's really excited and hopes that that will give Dansby some momentum. And, Charlie Morton is just as baffled as we are, Jarvis, about why his stuff isn't as good as it was last season. And who knows? You and I and everybody have been pontificating on what was wrong with Eddie Rosario all these weeks. And finally, a couple days ago, we figure out something's wrong with his sight. So who knows with Charlie Morton? Maybe there's something wrong there physically that the Braves have to kind of eke out and figure out how to help him to get back on track.
You know what? It's interesting that you said it because I know, he talked about how he felt in spring training, so he felt
Mm-hmm.
good and everything. He felt like his stuff was there. And it seemed like in baseball that like that is the most common term ever.
Yes.
Stuff. You hear
I think
Brian
it's kind
Snicker,
of
oh
cool
after
in some
every,
weird
yeah,
way.
it is like, yeah, he got some good stuff. Yeah, I thought he had good stuff,
Right.
heck, that's kind of Snicker's thing. But to hear him kind of talk about it and see how reflective he was,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting, but also in the back of my mind, I was like, man, is this dude about to get ready to retire?
Right.
That was kind of the vibe I got when, just reading his comments and
Mm-hmm.
everything. I was just like, okay. But, and he kind of gave you a peek into the mind of a professional athlete. And a lot of times you just don't get that in post game press because,
Right.
you know, essentially he's being vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
to the media, and for him to hear him talking about how even pitch by pitch in his
Yes.
mind saying, okay, was that a good one? Okay, why
Mm-hmm.
didn't this dude swing at that pitch? Like,
Yes.
okay, normally he'll swing at this.
Yeah,
He
because
didn't
he
swing
talked
at this
about it. Right.
last year, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my god, like this is
Yeah.
fascinating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hope it. You almost at a point where you almost hope it's physical, if I
Mm-hmm.
can say that. Versus mental, because once you get in your own head about doubting yourself or having
Mm-hmm.
too much confidence in yourself about doing certain things and how you
Mm-hmm.
can do them, that's when you start to see those slumps, because we know baseball is almost always about up and down. It's almost like the stock market. Baseball players, they go through lows, right? And this is the thing that he got off to a slow start last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that hopefully this is something that he can get turned around,
Yeah.
and it is something physical. Whether or not, okay, my wind up, I'm not doing this, but I am confident though that he's going to at least try to get it figured out, because he's a guy that at his age, he studies. He's studying that film and going back and watching and looking at the numbers and everything, because we know baseball is all about the numbers, and seeing what is absolutely wrong. And I just hope that he gets it figured out as well.
Yeah, and speaking of getting things figured out and hopefully getting things turned around, the Braves have figured out that it was time for Ronald Acuna Jr. to complete his rehab assignment. They understood the assignment and brought him back up today. So you go back 2 days ago and we hear from the Braves saying, hey, that Tuesday morning start, that's a little too early, 11 a.m. AAA Gwinnett. We'll just keep him on the shelf until Wednesday. So fast forward to last night, he's 2 for 5. And instead of playing just 7 innings, he plays 9 innings. And then early bird style this morning, they tell us that they indeed are calling him back up. So now the last thing that Alex Anthopoulos said was he'd still projected May 6th as a return, possibly May
Second.
2nd
Yep.
as his early bird return,
Right. Exactly.
and he go on the road with them to face the Mets, or an earlier bird return this Friday. Well, it's Thursday, and he
Yeah.
is there. And I'm
Yes.
I'm sure Truist Park will be rocking. I'm interested to see how they use him, whether or not he's going to go into that DH role, whether or not he's going to actually, play outfield. Like, how is it going to really go for him? I'm very interested to see how they work him or use him. But certainly individuals who have seen him up front, I hadn't had a chance to get out to Gwinnett to see him, but everybody who's seen him from spring training to Gwinnett on to even today, they say he's back. I mean, he's back, and he said he feels like he's back. So exciting time for the Braves. And whether the other piece that I was thinking about is this: whether it's what he does on the field tonight or not, or if he does it tomorrow, Monday, or even all the way next Friday, I believe that he's also a jolt of energy because they know that they have in him a potential NL MVP, a game changer, obviously a franchise changer coming back to Truist today.
You know what? And I think the main thing you said that he said he feels like he's back, right? He feels like he's ready, and I think that's probably what sped up this process because
Mhm.
when you think about nephew Ronald Acuna, for those who don't in Dunwoody, I call the man nephew. That's how I feel about him. That's a term of endearment. So when you talk about him as being a competitor, right?
Mhm.
He knows how he feels. He knows his body better than anyone in that organization.
Yes.
And if he says he's ready, go ahead and bring him back.
Yes.
Because when you talk about even last night, even the Gwinnett Stripers knew that
Mhm.
he was ready because, like I said, the plan was to play 7. He ended
Yes.
up playing 9, and he ended up balling out. He had some
Mhm.
stolen bases as well. So all of those things kind of play into the factor of like,
Mhm.
all right, this lineup is semi struggling,
Yes.
and they've been waiting on nephew to come back.
Mhm.
So why not go ahead and bring it back? And
Yes.
if he says he's ready, I believe him. So
Yes.
I believe him. I believe him. I believe that he's ready. I believe that he's looking to make an impact when he comes back. And like I
Mhm.
said, I think the key thing is just how Snicker will use him.
Yes.
I think you made a great point as well with that is the DH piece, right? Because Travis Demerit is kind of settled in at right
Mhm.
field. Not to say that he's going to uproot nephew for
Right.
Ronald Acuna for coming back there. But,
Mhm.
you can use him at DH so you can slow play it a little bit because, nobody knew who was going to be the guy to kind of step in and be that
Right.
guy
Mhm.
because Eddie Rosario went out, and then Alex Dickerson was absolutely horrible. That's why he
Yeah.
was designated
That's
for
why
a
he's
time,
been
man.
right. Exactly.
That's why he's
That's why
got his
you've
butt
been
on right on up
you're
out of
gone.
there. So
Back to Gwinnett you go.
we'll holler at you, buddy. And
Mhm.
so I think that with Demerit being as solid, especially defensively,
Yes.
he's a
Yes.
he's a good piece out there in the outfield. So you can slow play it. So you
Mhm.
can just get him on the DH, pop him in that lead up spot, and I think a lot of people are going to benefit from him in the
Yes.
lineup because he's where he needs to be. And I think
Yes.
the main guy first guy that comes to mind is a guy that I saw on a national commercial last night, Ozzy
Mhm.
Albies.
Yes. Yes.
Ozzy Albies going down into that 5th slot. Oh man,
Mhm.
that is exactly where he needs to be because I believe wholeheartedly that he's a 30 home run,
Mhm.
100 RBI type guy, and if
Yes.
he's in a position to drive people in that slot,
Mhm.
which it is, I think the Braves definitely are going to get a jolt, like you said.
Right. And that, when you think about him being in the 5 hole, it's very interesting because he's been one of the bright spots on offense, obviously defensively, but he's been one of the bright spots on offense no matter where they put him in the batting order. But to have him in what I'll call his natural position in the middle of the order, yeah, I think that would be gangbusters. And like you said, you'll see a trickle down effect because you'll see, especially at the top in the middle of the order, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see players going back to their natural spaces, and then you're going to see us. I think you're going to see the Braves start to get into what more of what they were last year, which was a team that could get hits and get you on base when they actually started getting their rhythm and they're able to drive runs in, as opposed to just being this solo shot type of team that we've seen thus far this season. So Love to see it. We'll talk about it. Hopefully, we got some big news for you guys, some exciting news on the draft front, on the Ronald Acuna Jr. front, and even on the Braves front, because if they get this win tonight, then we get the first series win of the season. And speaking again of winning, we try to stay on a positive note here. There is something that Peyton Manning has done to show us the kind of winner that he always is, not just on the field, but off the field. We'll talk about it when we come back in our segment for sports and entertainment, and where the intersection meets is for the culture. Join us on the other side. We'll tell you all about it.